Were the prices for the PS5 digital and disc edition just leaked? Maybe. Let's chat about it. Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of news in this next-gen gaming world, where we just recently found an article where it sounds like Sony is struggling internally with what price to make their PlayStation. After having seen Xbox's price release, it sounds like Sony may be struggling with where they should label and place their price at. So we have some insider information here that may have just leaked what we can expect to see from PlayStation. Let's go ahead and jump into the article. Okay, so here we are. We are at Comic Book Gaming. PS5 price reportedly revealed. Wow. Big time information here. According to a new report from Game Reactor, Sony is internally adjusting its price point for the console ahead of its reveal following yesterday's news that the Xbox Series X will cost $500 while the Xbox Series S will only cost $300. More specifically, the outlet claims that the discless all-digital version of the PS5 will retail at $400, which is exactly what I pegged it at. I figured it'd be at $400. Meanwhile, the standard console with the disc drive will retail at $500, which is exactly where I also pegged the price at, which makes a lot of sense to me. But this is what's interesting here. The report notes that the price point Sony had in mind for these consoles was originally higher, likely $500 and $600, which makes sense. But it's been forced to adjust these prices following the aforementioned Xbox reveal. So this is why the game of chicken was such a big deal, because neither side wanted to blink on the prices. And Microsoft wanted to make sure that they won that price war. And it sounds like they might be winning that price war when it comes to the cheaper S version, right? But the problem here is that the cheaper PlayStation version is not a dumbed down version of PlayStation. You're getting the same exact PS5, but just for a cheaper price because there is no disc drive. That's a key thing to note here, that the Series S is actually a lot cheaper because it has a lot less specs. The specs for it compared to the X are so much less. The specs for the Xbox Series S are so much less than the PS5, right? And so while the Microsoft, system may be working in the sense that they have the cheaper next-gen console, it may not actually be the best buy, right? And so what we have here, as a result, Sony will undercut Microsoft with the all-digital PS5, which truly is an undercut, because the PS5 digital edition will be competitive with the Xbox Series X edition. And so PlayStation's best console versus Microsoft's best console, you actually can get the PlayStation one a little cheaper for their best consoles. So you're kind of seeing an undercut happening here, which is, I knew what would happen when one of these companies blinked. And that's why the game of chicken was so important, because whichever one struck first, the other one was going to try and undercut. Now, Sony's playing it very safe, right? They're playing it very safe. They're going to make sure that they undercut Microsoft. They were given this gift. So now we're going to be getting a cheaper PlayStation console. So all because it was leaked, we're going to all be getting a cheaper PlayStation console. This is like incredibly good news, right? And then according to this, Venture Beat reported in General Industry Insider Jeff Grudno that even if Sony sells the PS5 at $500, it will be selling the console at a slight loss. So Sony's going to actually take a loss on these consoles, and they don't mind doing that. They've done that almost every single generation. They take a small loss at the beginning, and then of course as the technology grows and the parts get cheaper, it becomes a more affordable thing for Sony and Microsoft to make these consoles at a slight profit or breaking even. But it's always usually a loss at first, and I'm sure Microsoft is taking a loss as well. But ultimately, this is really, really great news for us as gamers. We see here that we're going to be getting a cheaper PlayStation 5 console, where they were likely going to be $500 and $600. They are now going to be $400 and $500 respectively. And so this is great news. This is exciting. I think this helps PlayStation out, but I think the one thing that Xbox has when it comes to this pricing is the financing option. If Sony doesn't have a financing option, then they're going to have a harder time competing in that selling market with the Microsoft. And also, Microsoft's Game Pass is just so incredible that it's a really great product they're offering. But if you're looking at just specs, box to box, the PS5 digital is the best bang for anyone's buck as far as just specs go. If you want to compare games and services, then that's a whole different story. But just specs to specs, clearly the PlayStation 5 digital is going to be the best deal of any of the next gen consoles. Okay, keep that in mind. You're getting a whole lot more bang for your buck in the PS5 digital versus the Series S, the cheaper consoles. And for only $100 more, you get a better GPU, you get more RAM, you get a better solid state drive. All these wonderful things you get with the PS5 digital for just spending $100 more. And those are great things you're getting, right? And so with that being said, let me know what you think below. Do you find this information exciting, underwhelming? Do you wish the PlayStation 5 undercut them even more? Do you wish they went cheaper than the Xbox Series X? Let me know what you think below. Are you excited for next gen? I know I sure am. And as always, please have a great rest of your day and week. Peace.
I love you,